Alright guys, right now I'm standing out in front of the office of the Chief Colina. Now, it's a pretty big thing for an officer to meet up with the chief. Let alone, today the chief agreed to let me ask him pretty much whatever I want. Nothing is off the table. So there's some hot topics right now that I want to talk about. One of them being immigration and a recent interview that he did that's getting a lot of buzz in the media. And I want to ask him some questions about that and some other stuff, including some stuff that's going on inside our own agency. So it's something new that I want to start here on this channel where I get to kind of grill the chief. I told him, sir, I mean, it's only going to work if you let me say what I got to say. And he was all cool with it. He's like, Nick, let's go, let's do it. So we're going to go right now. I got to buzz in, get checked in, walk to the back. I have Officer Giordano back there. He set up the lights and cameras for the interview. I just wanted to meet out here and tell you guys what's going on because the chief's kind of on a schedule, so we got to rock and roll as soon as we get in there. So right now, let's go in, let's get ready, and let's go start this interview. First, we have to buzz here. Morning.
Good morning.
He's ready?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Go right in.
Chief.
Hey, Nick.
Good morning, sir. How you
How
doing?
are you, man? How's it going?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
All right, I'm excited.
Oh, boy.
Okay, Chief. So, you agreed. Just making sure nothing's off the table, right?
Right.
Okay. So I just want to get right into it then.
Okay.
Because there's a hot topic surrounding some things that happened on a radio interview regarding undocumented immigrants and sanctuary cities. And there's just been a lot of buzz around that. So can you maybe elaborate or talk about that a little bit?
So you're right. I mean, this is something that really it became even national news, which is a little unfortunate because there's been a misrepresentation. And these things happen, but ultimately it was really quite simple. I went on the radio show in Spanish to talk about Ultra.
Right.
And the first question, of course, was about immigration. So I was asked specifically, and by the way, this was recorded, so it's not like anyone can't go verify what was asked and what was said. But anyway, I was asked if someone is a victim of a crime, of a rape specifically, human trafficking, domestic violence, should the police have to check that person's status before rendering aid? And of course I said that's ridiculous. We would never do that. Our job is to help people. And if someone's the victim of a crime, we want them to come forward. We want to make sure we catch the bad guys so they don't continue to victimize people. And then the reporter asked about, well, but what if you were forced? Because there's a bill going through Florida that you may have to catalog people that are victims of crime and their immigration status.
Right.
And then I essentially responded the same. No, that's outrageous. I wouldn't want this job if I had to tell my policeman, go check on someone's status first before you offer aid or render aid. You know, it's an outrageous thought. And by the way, this isn't me, you know, being some lone voice. This is the position of the IACP. This is the position of the Major City Chiefs Association. The bottom line is that I'm going to respect the rule of law, and if somebody breaks the law, they go to jail, period.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So ICE puts in a request for a certain person. Are you going to say, no, you can't come in here and you can't do your job here?
No, we listen, we cooperate with we work with everyone, first of all. So whether it's DEA, FBI, or ICE that says, listen, we have information that there's 3 people wanted for a drive-by shooting anywhere. It doesn't matter. Whether it was here or anywhere else in the county, we'd like your help to go get them. They happen to be illegal. Okay, if you broke the law, you broke the law. And if you're wanted, you're wanted. And that applies to everybody. Like I said, ultimately we want is for Miami to be a safe city. And so we're always going to follow the rule of law. But what we're not going to do is check on someone before we help them. It's that simple. And again, this isn't some radical thought. By the way, this has been our policy since 2002. I mean, it's actually on our books. I just kind of repeated what already existed. But when you leave the part out, Nick, what happened was this. They left the part out about victims of crime. The only part they played was, I don't care if you have papers or you don't, or what your status is, that makes no difference to me. Well, yeah, that does sound controversial if you leave the part out of victim of a crime. And so that's what happened, and it's unfortunate, but I went on the radio on the following Tuesday, and I was asked questions, and I got to answer them, and there's a podcast to that, and if people are interested, they can go hear for themselves.
Where can they find that at?
That's on WIOD. It's the Brian Mudd Show. So I went on there, and he specifically asked me as well. Right. And then, he asked me a lot of questions, and I answered them. And
we'll put the link to that down below so they can go and hear the whole interview.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Head on.
Yeah.
We went head on. First one.
Playing.
Okay, let's get to the second one.
Okay.
All right. Recently, we had a huge event. Comes here every year. I think you know where I'm going with this one. But Ultrafest.
Yes.
New location this year.
Yes.
A little bit of a hiccup on the first day, but overall, how do you feel we did as a department managing that event?
Man, I honestly, I think we did great, and there's a couple of reasons. First of all, you got 180,000 people over a 3-day weekend in a brand new venue. Not just a brand new venue, but a venue where there really was no infrastructure, right? So there's nothing there. It's Virginia Key. There's one way in, one way out. We didn't make these choices, the police department. We were told this is where it's going to happen, and then we try to mitigate the issues that we can see coming the best we can. Yeah. I think the policemen were incredible, the way that they behaved. It's a tough gig when you're working 14, 15, 16-hour days.
Correct.
For anybody in any field, especially in police work. I thought that the staff that managed it did an incredible job. Friday was a problem. Right, so they made a big deal about that, everybody walking on the causeway and wanting to leave. There was an issue with transportation. We adjusted to that and adapted a plan that made it better on Saturday and then made it even better on Sunday. It's something that if they wanted to do it there again, we would work with. We have a lot of ideas of how we can get people better in and out. But listen, at the end of the day, what we concern ourselves here is safety. And no one was harmed. Nobody got run over. No one died.
For the first year out there, that's big.
It's big, and we got a little bit of criticism that I thought was a little unfair, and it's not that I'm not used to it. A lot of times when people don't know who to blame, they blame the police, and I don't even think it's a matter of blame. There's no one to blame for anything. It's a matter of, hey, what can we do better, and then we work at that.
Correct.
We could do it blindfolded there at Bayfront, but they chose to move it, and now we got to do the best we can, and I thought we did.
I agree. Okay, so let's focus in-house. Okay. Some things are happening. There's word that GPS systems are going to be installed in vehicles, and we're going to GPS systems. We don't have it currently, but it's going to be a new program that we're rolling out. And are these rumors, or is this true?
No, this is real. I thought you were going to ask like one tough question, and then maybe in the next month.
No, we're bringing it. We got to bring it, sir.
No problem. Yeah. So we are going to install GPSs in the cars. And I know that a lot of people are worried about it and they don't understand it. And there's a few things that go to why we put GPS. First, the majority of other police departments already have GPS. This is not new technology. Everybody knows it exists. There's really 3 elements to it of why. The first one, like almost everything we do here, is life safety. So this would give us the ability to dispatch super efficiently. The dispatchers will kind of see on a screen where the cars are at, almost like an Uber or something when you go on the app. The dispatchers will see that, and they'll have the ability to dispatch people that are right down the block. And that's important for us. We want to do our job, and we want to do it well. The second element that's just as important is officer safety. So we want to make sure that if we can't communicate with someone and there's an issue, we can find that person immediately through the GPS. So that's a big plus. And by the way, this has happened across the country where there have been incidents where because of the GPS we were able to get to policemen. And then the last component is accountability. And that's just the truth, by the way. So there is an accountability component. If someone makes a complaint and says there were 5 officers somewhere and there was a misconduct, for example, well, now we will know who were those 5 officers. We don't have to drag in 10 people. We don't have to put a possible principal officer on a complaint, for example. We don't have to do that. Now we can see. What we're not going to do, Nick, is we're not going to use this as a tool to see if somebody went on the other side of the avenue to get their coffee, outside their net. I don't care about that. Okay. And I've made it very clear to the command staff, I don't care about those things. I don't want to see where the guys are going just because. There needs to be cause. We're not going to have a rogue supervisor who's got it in for some officer to use this as a tool to build something against an officer. No. If you want to see what someone has done or where they were, there needs to be cause, and that needs to be explicit. We're not, in the beginning, we're not going to be storing any data because we want to make sure that we have the ability to redact any information that we think is important to redact. And so in the beginning when it's launched, it's just going to be the live component where we can see where the cars are at to dispatch. Nothing will be recorded. In the future, once we see that we can redact information, then we'll start storing information. That information will not be available to the public that would normally be protected where you live.
Yeah, that's where my follow-up is. So an officer goes home to his house off duty. Are we still tracking him off duty? And is that information where he lives available to the public for public record? Okay.
And this was one of the big things for me that I thought, man, what I don't want, because what we have seen in the past, and not just here in the police department, but really everywhere, sometimes you do something with the best of intentions and there's unintended consequences that are pretty substantial. And so we wanted to make sure, and we cleared it with, you know, all the attorneys. Listen, there's no scenario where I'm going to want to release where an officer went after work, or, you know, someone can make a public records request and see where they live or where they go shopping or any of that stuff. We're not going to do any of that, and we're not going to allow any of that. And somebody can make a request, we would never, they'd have to sue us. And even then, you know, the law here in Florida is pretty clear. You do not have the ability to look at that information. It is protected by the law. And so I know that concerns people.
That's a big concern.
Yeah, it's a big concern. And we're not gonna, you know, we're not gonna do that. And like I said, in terms of, I know it's a concern too, Nick, for people thinking, oh, they're gonna know, you know, what I did in between calls. No, we're not interested. We got too many things going on. You know, that would only come into play if there is a complaint of a misconduct or whatever the case.
Right.
Then that's when you go back and you say, okay, who was there and for how long, that kind of thing. Otherwise, you know, it's just officers doing their job.
To follow that up, is that going to be a pilot program where it goes to patrol, or is everyone under this roof getting a GPS?
So it'll start as a pilot, and the reason for the pilot is, again, we want to make sure that there isn't some serious hiccups, and then we got to call everybody back and take them out or reduce something or reprogram something. So we'll start small and we'll grow it. Everyone will have it. You know, if you work in CID, for example, you will have GPS. I know that the guys in SIS, for example, are not happy, and I understand. They're thinking, hey, man, some of the stuff that we do is protected. We don't want to, you know, meet with a CI somewhere. You know, we're going to find a way to mitigate that without a doubt.
Yeah.
But everyone's going to have it because, you know, it's what's fair. But it becomes a little bit disingenuous if I'm going to say, hey, this is important for efficiency and life safety, but only the patrol guys get it. That's not right. No. And so I hope everyone can understand that if it's good enough for patrol, the backbone, it's good enough for everybody.
So, this is where we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
How was it for the first one?
It was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I appreciate you having nothing off the table. And for the final question, okay?
Okay.
I just have to ask this. You said nothing's off the table, right?
Nothing's off the, oh boy.
Okay.
Nothing's off the table.
What are we using in the hair? Is it gel, mousse, or hairspray, or is it all of the above?
It's a combination, all of the above. I get bulk. I buy bulk.
It's immaculate, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. All right, guys. All right, guys. That was the first interview. I just finished putting it together last night. I guess we'll call it Nothing Off the Table, and we'll make it a series. We'll make it a monthly episode where I'm going to ask you guys to send me some questions, put it down below in the comments. If there's officers that are in-house and they want to reach out and have some questions for me to ask the chief, go right ahead. Hopefully I will have a job still at the end of this. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and really cool of the chief to be a part of something like this, and I'm excited to see what next month holds. So guys, try not to get me fired if you can. So I'm gonna go inside and upload the video now, and we'll see what happens. See you guys next month, or maybe not. All right, guys, you have a safe weekend.